Welcome to PNW Prop Stars, the only Seahawks only gambling show in the multiverse. I am your host, Clinton Bonner, and I've got some fine-looking bearded gentlemen with me today. Hey, you can see it on screen at YouTube. No Princetonian. His parents are in town. They came all the way from California over to Princeton to visit Winston. Wilson, hopefully they got his name right. Wilson, have some fun with the parents. We got our parents. We got the godfathers of the Seahawkers podcast with us today. Since he's top right, Adam, of course, he's on PNW Prop Stars every single week. Adam, how you doing this week, dude? Big week versus the Ravens coming up. How are you preparing for it?
Well, first off, I don't know that either Brandan and I can be the daddy this week after you won last week in the last 2 minutes of the game. 0 for 3 going into the last 2 minutes of the game, Clinton, and then all your bets came through. I was counting my victory at that point with my bets, so that was tough. But going into this Ravens game, I'm picking a lot of stuff for a close game. That's where my focus is this week.
That's what we call a teaser, a little foreshadowing. All right, Brandan is standing in for the Princetonian of Parlays. And of course, it is the one, the only, the great Brandan Schultz. You know him for basically everything else he does on the Seahawkers podcast. Brandan, we talked just the other day about getting ready for this Ravens game. Now you got to take it and put it into the lens of finding some nooks and crannies that are hopefully going to make us some money. So how are you feeling as you stand in for Wilson and also give your own flavors as we roll on?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I have Wilson's bets. I have the bets that I thought looked better. And so I think maybe I just take the one that I like the most and pretend it's mine. And also then if Wilson flames out, then I blame him.
Wow. So you know what? I like the way you're just immediately ditching all responsibility for these and yet positioning yourself for the win. So, well done.
Hey, when I'm leading in our other show, I don't need, to have this gratification of also beating you guys.
Yes, and that is what if Brandan is now up 4-3 with his his what if Superhawk predictions, and I will win that one when the time comes, the end of the year. I will win that one as well. And let's check this out as we get this on screen here. We had the throwbacks, the thematics here as well. So look, we all had the beautiful throwback Seahawk headdress on, as if we were Captain Seahawk here. However, on top of that, can only be one crown, only one winner. It was me this week. I went 3-4-3. I don't really care if it happens with 1 second to go on the clock, Adam. They all came in very happy about all these wins. I will say across the board again, every single one of us in the money. Wilson up 17%. Adam, you were up 48%. And then, yes, I did lap the field 176% on the year. I got the glorious Darrell Taylor, basically last defensive play of the game, sack. I got JSN with the touchdown, put him over. It was glorious. And then Fant, he breaks it down the sideline. Why should a man go out of bounds when he knows there's money on the line? He goes right up the field and gets me that one as well. So just check, hit. And I've got the crown this week. Adam, before we go, we hop into this Ravens match. Anything you want to say about yours besides, the fact that I pulled out the victory at the last seconds?
Yeah, that was an infuriating way to lose, but could have been worse. I mean, I could be like Wilson and have just a couple negative odds bets that hit, and then take third that week, and then fail to show up the next week because you're too ashamed or afraid. I don't know which it is. I mean, so it could have been worse for me. It could have been worse, but I did like how it went for me, man. Jamal Adams came through for me. And I really thought I was going to end up in that points band of 7 to 12 points there for half a second, but
me too.
didn't quite happen. But that's all right. I'll take the crown back this week because obviously Brandan has no confidence in Wilson's picks, and you haven't ever put together back-to-back weeks. I mean, shoot, just getting this 1 week is like a blind squirrel in a nut moment. So I feel good about my odds this week.
Yeah, I feel really good just in general. So I feel really good about what I got cooked up this week as well. And Brandan, why don't you do us the favor for the folks that are out there listening? We like to remind them, what should they be doing? This is, again, folks, this is about the Hawkra. Yes, we're here to help our deal is to help generate and raise the Hawkra. But what can the people out there do to make sure they are raising the Hawkra and getting involved?
Well, this is the thing that I'm a little bit confused about because I'm going to bring the graphic back up.
Yeah,
and I see here that Clinton, you came out 54-60 on your bets. So plus 54.60.
Uh-huh.
I did not get any $5. If you're chipping the show off 10% because you're successful and following Clinton, I did not get any $5 donations at either getintheflock.com or at Hawker on Venmo. So either nobody is following you, Clinton, and your bets, or nobody is appreciating this show enough to chip us off 10% when they win each week.
Well, it's a good point. And here's the deal, right? At this point, we're now into this is week 9. So 7 games in, we had the bye. All 3 of us are also in the money again for the year.
Yeah.
For the year, we are in the money. That's called beating the house, folks. So Brandan, to your point, good job. I will give some love to Jamie Williams. Jamie Williams out on the Discord. He has been betting every week a Tariq Woolen interception every week.
Hey.
And to his credit, he's like, I'm not giving up on this bet. It's going to happen. So Jamie, big shout out to you. You nailed it. And actually, some interception talk might come into play here as well. So let us roll into what is now week 9, game 8, right? Because we're 5-2 against these Ravens. Vegas thinks this is first of all, Vegas thinks that the Ravens win this game in pretty much kind of bit of a going away fashion, 5.5 or 6 points, a little bit shocking for me. And Vegas thinks it settles in around 43 or 44 points. That's climbed as the week has progressed. It's about 44 at this point. So they're not looking for a huge blowout or a huge points wise. And they're thinking the Ravens kind of take this in a fairly easy way. I see it differently personally. So, all right, boys, let us kick off then on bet 1. I'm going to pass it to myself. That's how it goes. I've got the honors. I'm on the tee box. So bet 1, $10 bet. Take anything you want. I've got a little bit of a parlay here to start things off. Last week I did well by putting some of my heavier bets first. So why not? The second verse, same as the first, do it again. I've got Mark Andrews under 4.5 receptions. However, I'm going to parlay that with Zay Flowers over the same number, 4.5 receptions, to get me to plus 178. The reason I like this bet, Zay Flowers has hit that mark 5 of 8 times. He's averaging basically 8 targets per week, and they manufacture targets to that dude. So if he gets the Deontay Johnson wide receiver screen stuff, which he will, cool. There's 2 or 3 of them, I think, in the bag. Whereas Mark Andrews has got to go battle our good linebackers, go battle Jamal Adams playing linebacker when he's down the box. And Andrews is like, oh, he's a big name. Yeah, sure. He's only hit over 4 receptions 3 of 8 times. So I put those in a little care package. I get to plus 178, and I like my odds getting out of the gate there. Adam, what do you think about my mathematics to go kind of big on bet 1?
Yeah, it's interesting to think about with Zay Flowers. I do think that him getting a few bubbles really does help there. And, the idea of Andrews being shut down a little bit, I kind of subscribe to it. The Seahawks have been better this year against tight ends. And don't forget, I could see them putting Witherspoon on Andrews for a good amount of the day down there in the slot. Just put one of your best coverage guys on one of their best receivers. And he has shown that he can hold up against those guys. I mean, he did well against Laporta, and he's done well against other tight ends. So I kind of like this one. Makes me mad. Good job.
No, this is it. I think I'm on a heater, guys. I'm feeling it. All right, Brandan. You're standing in for Wilson. I guess what would Wilson say? What do you think he'd say? Or whatever you'd want to say, Brandan.
Well, yeah, that sounds like you've gone through the numbers. I think I'm glad that you went with receptions and not yards, because I think with both of these receivers, I could see Zay Flowers hitting on multiple receptions, but not eclipsing, whatever the line is,
right?
In terms of yards. It's probably, around 40 or 50. So I'd be uncomfortable taking yards in this case. But like you said, with those shorter receptions, I could see a lot of that happening.
Yeah, I think the bust is going to happen if Andrews gets hot early, and we'll see. I just looking at the stats, I think, and how we're playing tight ends this year, I think we're playing them more stringently. So I'm just going to lay the chips there, and I like it. All right, Adam, that takes you. You were second anyway, so that takes you to your first down bet. What do you got, dude?
Yeah, I mean, I was first for most of the game, but yeah, I ended up second after the last 2 minutes. So I've got one of my slam dunk parlays right out of the gate here. I get Seahawks plus 4 because I do think it's going to be a close game, and I think the Seahawks can pull this out. I don't know that I would say should, but it's going to be, they're going to have a good chance to go down and win the game on the last drive or win it in the fourth quarter, like we always talk about, and win by like 2. So they get 4 points, and then Gino only has to pass over 175 yards. That's a slam dunk for plus 126. I just put $12.60 in my pocket right now. That just happened.
So Brandan, of the 2 parts, the Seattle +4 or the Gino, just go over 175. Does either part irk you, or do you feel like Adam's in a groove?
Well, the Gino one is more the slam dunk. The +4 is going to be the questionable one, right? Because even if they, so yeah, you're counting on them to. I mean, I don't really care for the Seahawks plus odds, just because then it's like, yeah, okay, if they lose, then I can still be happy. At which I don't know. I don't know if I like that psychology necessarily, but monetarily it makes sense. +4, I don't know if +4 is enough.
Well, let me ask you this, guys: when Seattle wins this game outright, and then Adam hits his +4 part, right? Yeah, math checks out. Yeah, okay, good. So it's good. It's a good bet. All right, Brandan,
you could have bet more and got
you're saying you
Seahawks with the win and Gino
Seahawks money line. Oh, gotcha. All
right. But the point is on my first down bet to throw something out there that I think is highly likely. Like, just get one in the bank, and then that way I offset maybe a loss later on in the betting process here. So that's kind of my thought process. I think the Seahawks are going to win this game, and it's going to be close. They might win by 2 points or something like that. But I just gave myself the buffer of the +4. This isn't me being like, if they lose, but if it's under a field goal, like, it's still okay and I'm happy. No, that's just the extra buffer, just in case I happen to be wrong.
Well, and I'm just saying that because Wilson's first bet is a cowardly Seahawks +6 at -110 odds. So, that just, I guess out of the gate at +6, it's the same kind of thought process, right? Well, I know the Seahawks are going to win by less than or if they lose, it's going to be by less than a touchdown. So take the +6.
I feel you, Brandon. I think personally, I'm a homer, of course. I'm going to think what I think here. This is a Seahawks show. Looking at the 2 teams, though, it's like we went through it a little bit on what if. It's like, well, who have the Ravens played? They played some good teams, and they are good. Don't get me wrong. This is a good team. A +6 to a Seahawks team that's been playing good football and good in the 10 a.m. Pacific, Seahawk time slot there. I don't mind it. I don't mind. And again, I think that's Wilson saying, I need to get back on the board as well. And at +6, pretty good deal. By the way, there was a variance. We always check FanDuel or DraftKings, and FanDuel had it at +6. So Wilson doing the little bit of extra homework to get that extra half, and why not already? So, all right, good stuff. So Adam, you are then up on bet number 2. Where are you going?
Well, I am betting on the Seahawks red zone struggles to raise their head again here on the road. And I know, but against a very good defense on the road, I think this defense is probably better than the Browns defense, despite the statistics, especially playing at home in Baltimore. So Jason Myers over 1.5 field goals +130. I think that's highly likely.
I don't hate it.
He's still scoring with that bet, by the way.
Yeah, I don't hate it, Brandan. As we talked about, I think we win this game by a field goal. In fact, I'm calling for an overtime victory with a Myers, knock through for the win in OT. I don't mind 1.5 field goals. I agree that the Ravens can get pretty stingy, and we've proven to be good between the 20s. Take whatever game, we're good between the 20s. Sometimes we struggle when we get into the red and then green zone. So what do you think of Adam's second down play? Does Myers get 2?
Yeah, well, the Ravens are crazy good in the red zone. I think they're holding opponents to, it's like 33% conversion inside the red zone. So when you think about the Seahawks' inability and struggles throughout this early part of the year and combine that with just how good they are in the red zone, it seems like a no-brainer.
That just sounds like more Bobo to me, boys. That's all that sounds like, is more Bobo in the red zone. And Adam, that was +130?
30. Yeah.
130. Okay, cool. All right. Yep. So Brandan, you are up. You got Wilson's second down bet. And of course, beef, whatever you want to do, pepper in whatever you want as well. You got the mic.
All right. Well, I do have one that I think I like better than Wilson, and he's going at plus 290 for both teams to punt on the opening drive. So expecting both the Seahawks and the Ravens to get off to a slow start. It's a tough one because the Seahawks have been generally pretty good on their opening drive. Defensively, I can understand with the Ravens, but with that expectations that both teams start off the game with a punt, the odds work out with plus 290. For me, I kind of like it better to go with maybe something not quite so high in terms of odds, but still getting plus odds. DK Metcalf, 65 plus yards for the day, plus 120.
Okay, so that was a alt receiver line, I think, probably. So
It
65
was,
plus
yeah.
yards.
I think 55 yards was the even line, and you could juice it up a little bit and go 65. And I just like that, just because they were so DK heavy against a good defense last week. Last week with the
Yeah.
Browns, that I think they could do the same here again against the Ravens.
It'll be interesting how many targets. It's not just how many targets. Like I don't expect DK to get 14 targets again, and I'll talk about that in a little bit and why I want to go somewhere else. However, it doesn't mean DK can't go 6 for 8 and then hit this number, or 7 for 9 and hit this number, because the other thing could come way up, right? So, frankly, Geno missed DK at least 3 times where DK was doing like slants that would have been 8 yards, 10 yards, 12 yards. And Geno just missed through the ball, which was very uncharacteristic. It was weird. It's like, oh, to Lockett, it's in a bucket. To JSN, it's in his hands. To Fant, it's right there. DK, it's at his shoes. It was like, well, that seems weird. It was very odd. So that to me seems more like an abnormality than the norm. So I expect that to balance back out. So I like it, Brandan. And as we're looking at this, guys, I am remiss. I'm looking at this. I'm like, wait, I didn't talk about my main squeeze. You guys know who my main squeeze is this year. I didn't give my second down bet. So I was going to retrofit this in and let everybody know very quickly.
Miles Adams.
Yeah, I wish they had those props. I'd take it every week, Miles. I swear I would. But my other main squeeze is, you guys know, it's Noah Fant. I'm going to go back to that well. Fant over 19 and a half yards, minus 125. Okay. And very quickly, Fant is now 6 of 8 over 20 yards, 6 of the last 7. The first game, he got no targets. So what can I say about that? 6 of his last 7. Here's some tight ends that went well over that. Njoku, McBride had 95 last week. Laporta had 52 when he played. And if the DK targets go down from 14 to say 9, right, that's probably 1 more target going Noah's way. I just need 3 targets. Give me 3 targets. We'll catch 2 of them. Smash pot minus 125. So, Adam, either Wilson's with the punt for the big 290, or Brandan's. Anything you want to react to?
Yeah, I just wonder about how many targets DK is going to get. Just like you said, Clinton, I think there's going to be adjustment. I think the Seahawks are going to try to run the ball a hell of a lot more in this game, just because of last week and the effectiveness that they had and could have rode. But as far as Wilson's bet, the 2 punts, it goes antithetical to my third down bet. It goes antithetical to everything the Seahawks have done this entire season. They have scored in the first quarter. It maybe not necessarily on the first drive, but usually on the first drive in almost every game. So I think that's a poor bet right there. I do believe that the Seahawks defense is going to have success early, but it could get harder as the game wears on and Gus Edwards and Lamar are out there running around and wearing you down a little bit.
Well, I think that's why it's plus 290, because those are pretty. I mean, they are long odds. Because if you go back and look at the Ravens too, the Ravens were fast starter. Even in the games that, like, the Ravens lost to the Steelers 17-10. How? I really don't know. I really don't know. I watched the Titans Steelers last night. Pretty good defense and all, but I still don't get it. Even in that game, the Ravens scored a first quarter touchdown. Now I don't know if it was the first drive or not, but the Ravens have started fast as well as the Seahawks have. So, but Vegas is saying that's why it's pretty darn long odds. So we shall see. All right, Brandan, you are up on third down. Spin it however you want. We got Wilson's as well, but if you got something, let's share it.
Yeah, I actually like Wilson's third down bet here, because it is Kenneth Walker and Mark Andrews to both score a touchdown at any point in the game, plus 325 odds. And when you think of how the Seahawks have, the last game was the first time that Walker didn't get into the end zone, right, in weeks. And so it's almost, once they get down to the goal line, they're finding ways to get Walker the ball, get him in the end zone. Mark Andrews, favorite target for Lamar Jackson. It seems like if you're going to pick one guy from each team to be the most likely to have a touchdown, it's these two guys, and plus 325. I like this one.
Wilson always goes for the Wilson 300. So he's honoring his own system. It has treated him well. So he's getting above that plus 300 threshold. Adam, what do you think about that combo? I mean, where Brandan says that Andrews is the most likely, maybe because the other dude who's most likely might be Lamar to just jot two of them in himself, right?
Do you boys smell that? Smells like desperation. That's what it smells like out of Wilson. 2 almost Wilson 300s here in a row after coming in third last week. He's swinging big this week, boys, just to try to make up for a dismal last week. I don't know. I mean, I don't hate that particular bet, though. I mean, if you're going to bet on anybody scoring touchdowns for each team, those are your two dudes. And that's, hefty amount of odds there. So I don't hate it, but it smells a little like desperation to me.
A little bit. Brandan, I got nervous because I saw him like leaning in and smelling, and we were just talking about wildfires before we got on. And he says, "Do you smell that?" I'm like, "How do you expect me to smell that?" I was going through all these things in my brain. I was like, "Oh my gosh, is it happening? Is he going to have a fire?" No, he was just railing on Wilson's desperation bet. So Brandan and Adam, thank you for that. Good stuff. All right, perfect. I am up now on the third down bet. All right, this one might be a bit more from the gut, and I don't care. And I do not care. The stats tell me that Lamar and Geno have basically the exact same amount of, here's this big one, we hear it now, it's in the NFL vernacular, turnover-worthy plays, right? That's now a thing. We talk about this about last year and a half or so. It's an advanced stat that's out there. All right. So if Lamar only has 3 and Geno has 6 on the year, and this is interceptions, by the way, because Lamar fumbles the ball quite a bit, I'm going to take a little parlay here. Maybe it's just what my heart wants. A Lamar interception. And I hope for Jamie Williams' sake, it goes back to Tariq Woolen because he should have had a second one last week. And Geno, no interception for Geno. A clean sheet gets me to plus 256. More of a gut feel. I was just looking at Lamar interception at plus 114. And I said, you know what? Let me throttle this a little bit. I'm in the money now. Let me play with house money. Get me to plus 256. Maybe the heart wants what the heart wants. Brandan, does my heart want what you want?
My heart wants what your heart wants. So we both want the same things. It makes me curious, though, of what the odds difference would be if you were picking an interception for both quarterbacks. I don't like rooting for the negative, but it feels like it could be more likely with Geno putting the ball into harm's way on multiple occasions these last few weeks.
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I believe the Geno interception was like right around even money or even like negative odds, like minus 105 or something like that. So Vegas is saying, with the Ravens defense, and they do bring the heat, and Geno has been, let's face facts. He's put it in places that we wish he hadn't a couple times in a row now. I think it's just me maybe feeling my feels here. So Adam, am I insane or am I on the right track?
Well, first, I want to make sure that I put onto the record that I hate the turnover worthy throw stat. I freaking hate it. Number one, who is evaluating this? Number two, does the throw to JSN on the outside where JSN just stops and screws over Geno and makes a turnover worthy throw? Is that a turnover worthy throw? Yes, that counts against him. I think it's a garbage stat. I don't care for it. And I think it's overblown. Now, in terms of this game, I don't know that Lamar's going to throw it enough to really be able to put it into harm's way. They are number 1 in the league at rushing attempts and 29th in the league at throwing attempts. There's just not a lot of opportunities there. And then as far as Geno not throwing a pick, I don't know, man. I could see a little Geno on Geno action here in this game with Geno Stone with his 5-6 picks, whatever it is that he has, baiting Geno Smith into a bad throw. If you guys, I meant to send it to you last night, but JT O'Sullivan at the QB school does a great breakdown of Geno's last game. If you are a Geno denier, go check it out. see what, I don't know, a professional quarterback who knows what the fuck he's talking about has to say regarding Gino's game. Even the pick to DK, that was one of those, can't believe that corner made the play, according to JT O'Sullivan. So just something to put in your hat there. I don't think that everything he puts out there, I don't think he's putting out more turnover-worthy throws than any other quarterback in the league. I still hate that stat.
The stat that I would like better than turnover-worthy plays are defensive drops. Like when we were watching Will Levis throw against the Pittsburgh defense last night in the final minutes of the game, how many times did he put it into the hands of a defender and they just dropped it for no reason?
Like 2 at least, because they got the last one. So I think it was 2 other times. Yeah. Quick, since we're talking Will Levis, do you guys get a feeling of who he looks like when he throws the ball? Like there's a doppelganger, like a
Uncle
pretty
Rico.
famous. Okay. Nailed it. Uncle Rico. Adam, any doppelganger? Like the dude, to me, I was like, size and his arm angle, the way he kind of whips it. Anything come to mind?
I'll give you my take. Other than he's got a little too much YOLO to him for me, but
a little Farvian.
Well, it's not so much far for like the way. I mean, I think the YOLO part is Farvian for sure. The dude reminds me of Drew Bledsoe. Like he looks like Drew Bledsoe through the ball.
Way shorter than Drew. He's like half a foot shorter than Drew.
Half a foot? What do you think? He's 5'10"?
Will Levis, he's just a little over 6 foot, isn't he? Is he like 6'2"?
No, he's
Bledsoe is like 6'6".
He's big. No, Will Levis is really tall. Hold on one second.
Yeah.
Will Levis height. He's 6'4", dude.
6'4". Yeah.
He's 6'4". It must be massive arms that make him look shorter.
He does have jacked arms. I'm just checking Drew Bledsoe's height.
Robo QB be good long term. I've never seen it, and I don't think we're going to start now. He's no Drew Bledsoe. Get that name out of your mouth, Clinton. That's it. That's an insult to Drew.
This is Adam's old Bills fandom coming back here because he was
no. This is a straight up Drew Bledsoe fandom, man. Like he's a BNW guy from Walla Walla. Yeah.
I like Bledsoe
I've
too. I
always
think
been a big Drew
a
fan.
Good quarterback. Well, next time go watch Will Levis and tell me later why I'm right. All right, let's go. So I got my third down bet in. I think Adam, you are not still your third down bet, right? Yes.
Okay. So going on the idea that the Seahawks have scored in the first quarter, pretty much every single game. They've had fast starts, as we've all acknowledged. I've got the Seahawks to win the first quarter, but in a shutout. So you just have to win the first quarter and the Ravens not score in the first quarter. It's a little spicy, but I get spicy odds.
Careful.
Plus 360.
Plus 360. Okay. So, all right. As I said earlier, Brandon, the Ravens also have started early. They get going pretty quick. In most games, they're scoring in the first quarter. Vegas agrees because plus 360 is something. Do you think we got a shot at that one, Brandon?
I think there's a shot. I think that, especially this plays right into Dave Bloomquist's theory that you poo-pooed, that the Ravens should be slowing down because they've done all of these road trips over these past 5 weeks. They've only had the one home game. They've also gone to London. So it plays right into it. I think secretly and subliminally, you agree with Dave Bloomquist that could slow the Ravens out of the gate.
Okay, I'm going to pause for a second.
My reason was that I believe in this defense early. My reason is I believe in this defense early. And it has nothing to do with Dave's tinfoil hat CIA-inspired rest theory. Yeah.
Here we go. I want to do a little quiz show. What I want you guys to do is both answer at the same time on 3, but I'll give you the question, okay? And I want you to answer at the same time so we get it. What's a worse stat? A worse stat. Dave Bloomquist, Bloomy's rest days, theory, right? Or turnover worthy plays on 3. Which one's worse? Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Turnover worthy
plays.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Bloomy wins that round. He survives. Good.
Yeah.
Good. We'll let Bloomy know that his stat is his philosophy a little bit better than absolutely garbage stat that who knows who subjectively judges that thing. At least Dave's is based in like time and reality, right? All right, beautiful. Yeah. So we got through our 3 bets. We're up on the Fail Mary now. The Fail Mary needs to be plus 1,200 or longer odds to qualify. We call it the Sunday rubber, the Sunday scratcher. It's a dollar bet, 1/10
We call
the
it
other
that.
bets.
You call it that, Clinton.
the universal, the collective we. I know Randy Horner in the Discord also calls it the
You and
the
Randy,
Sunday
those
rubber.
are the only two.
Isn't it fitting that a guy named Randy and I call it the Sunday rubber? All right, perfect. Yeah. So last week I said, I picked a Bobo anytime touchdown for something. Oh no, I picked him for a first touchdown, and I was like, I should have taken him for an anytime instead. And I went back and I looked, and Bobo was plus 3,000 for a first touchdown. But I just don't think it's going to be more Bobo at the goal line this time. I think it's going to be that we're discovering that JSN can score from outside the 20. And I think he could also be a super weapon from inside the 5-yard line like we're seeing. JSN gives me a spicy Fail Mary at plus 1,900 yards. So first touchdown of the game goes to JSN. He gets 3 weeks in a row, and I'm cashing that at plus 1,900. Hey, it's a buck. Why not? Adam, you're up, but you could comment if you wish or take it away.
So it's JSN anytime scores plus 1,900?
No. JSN first touchdown of the game. First touchdown. I know I said a lot of words before that about Bobo and stuff.
Yeah.
But
no, I just
JSN,
making sure I understood. Yeah. I actually almost put JSN in the canine spot for my Fail Mary bet because similar thought processes. The last couple games, they have been targeting JSN down in the red zone on the bubbles and stuff, and it seems to work, much to my chagrin. But fantastic. If it's scoring touchdowns, then I can be on board for bubbles.
No chagrins given if he's scoring.
That's exactly right. Yeah, exactly. No chagrins given. So don't hate it. It's as likely as about anything for a Fail Mary, not a Sunday rubber.
Perfect. All right, you're up on your Fail Mary then, Adam, or your Sunday rubber, whatever you choose.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go with Fail Mary. Just because I'm not gross. I got Seahawks -3. Okay, that's what this is a 3-leg parlay. Seahawks -3. So, but basically my thought process here is if I'm betting on something that's a long shot, I'm betting on a big time Seahawks victory. Like that. That's how I want to do it for my fandom, for the Hakra, all that stuff. Yep. So I got Seahawks -3. I got Gino with 250 plus passing yards. Gino's going to have a big day if the Seahawks are going to win big. And then I got Kenneth Walker as an anytime TD score, and that gets me exactly to plus 1,200.
Man, Brandan, this is again the heart wants what the heart wants on this one. I would be so happy to send Adam a congratulatory text if that happens, right? Yeah, that would be delightful. I can't even pick it apart. It's like, hey, if we win by more than 3, those other things are actually kind of likely.
Well, there was one bet that I was looking awfully close at. It wasn't plus 1,200, or else it would have been a no-brainer to put in here. But it was for the Ravens to be leading at halftime and the Seahawks to win, and it was still, I think it was plus 1,050. And I was like, I do kind of like that, just because it seems like Pete, especially in these tough games, they'll be down by 3-4 points at halftime, and that's when they come back. So it reminds me a little bit of that bet. And I do like the idea of piling on.
Yeah, shoot, sure. I'll tell you what, Brandan, I didn't see that bet. The Ravens winning at half and Seahawks winning the game was plus 1,050.
Yeah, it was big. Yeah.
Can I replace my third down bet with that? My God, like that's the most Seahawky bet ever. It doesn't quite get to Fail Mary territory, but goddamn, that's a tough one to pass up. I like that.
Your bets are your bets, man. If you want to change it, we just gotta verify that those are the odds. So we could do that after. If you like it, you can text me. I found it. I'll put it in. It's all good. All right. So Brandan, we do have the Wilson Fail Mary, and then of course, if you hate his, then tell us yours.
I do I understand where Wilson's going with this one, because the third down bet is Kenneth Walker and Mark Andrews anytime touchdown, right? And those, I explained, are 2 likely occurrences. And then the third, he just adds a third receiver into this mix in Tyler Lockett for an anytime touchdown. And it also seems like, if you're going to go down the list of some of the top guys, also a likely person to get a touchdown, I would think. And so it gets them to plus 1,200. I kind of like that. But gosh, if I'm going to go in with a Tyler Lockett score, I kind of like what I saw with Tyler being the first touchdown of the game plus 2,000. Like if you're gonna fail Mary big. And if you think Tyler's gonna get a touchdown, why not the first touchdown? I like the plus 2,000 odds.
Nice. Well, I like that we got multiple Fail Marys from from Brandan sitting in for Wilson. Doesn't mean Wilson gets both. We're still going to keep the there's law here, but it's nice to get the Tyler one on screen as well. Speaking of continuing to make money, I think I got this again, guys. I heard your stuff. I'm pretty sure the crown's going to stay right where it is, and I'm going to be just loving a second week in a row, and you're gonna have to deal with the not so benevolent dictatorship. Adam, you had a little chuckle there, maybe a little chuckle. You don't think?
I don't need to be out here bursting bubbles. Like, sure, yeah, you're gonna win it 2 weeks in a row, Clinton. It's finally gonna happen. You're right. You're right on the cusp. You're right on the cusp.
Yep. Did you already take this bet, Adam? Because even since I mentioned it, I see that the odds have dropped for Ravens leading at halftime, Seahawks to win, now at plus 1,000 instead of
I think Adam probably put a cool.
Yeah, no, I did not. I think
cool
I missed
G on
that
that
third down bet anyways. But
all right,
I do take it though. It's a good one.
Hey, this is again. We talked about this last week when Adam, you had one that was like, "Hey, tied at the half and Seahawks win." I was like, "This game's got 7-7 written all over it." Last week didn't exactly go that way, but same reasoning. Brandan, I mean, can we not foresee 7-6 Ravens at the half or 10-7 Ravens at the half, and then Seattle wins 21-20?
Yeah,
right. It's totally doable. I think the important part is Seattle wins. We love our bets. We love winning. And, and it's a nice analysis of a new way to look at it through the lens of these props and these parlays. And we love it on P&W Prop Stars. At the end of it, let go Hawks. Let's fly back out east. And again, Adam, you talked about it on the flagship show. You brought up McAfee being like, hey, we got to pay attention to these Seahawks a little bit more. And I actually didn't listen to the show until after. And I had let out about that in What If, saying like, there's a coronation in early November that the Ravens are this Super Bowl bound team. All right, well, I want the love in our side here. I know it's tougher for Southwest Alaska, Southeast Alaska to get the love, but I think we're winning this game, guys. I think we are coming away with this W. Brandan, have you? What do you think, dude? Do you think we win this game? Do you think we go east and we get this W?
If I'm being realistic, it feels like more likely. We talked about it in our pick'em. I think I gave the Ravens like 66% to the Seahawks 33, and that's giving 1% to some unnatural occurrence. But I think that it's a game that the Ravens should win, but I think it's also a game that the Seahawks can and are able to win. And and part of that, I buy into Bloomquist's rest theory a lot more than anybody else, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think so. So I think the other piece too, Adam, before I turn to you, is who do you think is a better team? Who's a better team, the Bengals or the Ravens?
The Bengals or the Ravens? I'd say the Ravens. I think they're a better team. I think they're a slightly better team than the Browns are right now as well. With that said, that doesn't mean they're unbeatable. I think that the Seahawks absolutely have a shot to win this game. No doubt about it. I think Vegas, they have it like +6, right? For the Ravens. I think this is closer to a +3 kind of matchup. I think this is closer to a coin flip kind of game. Seahawks do play well on the road. They do play well in that time slot. The offense went up against the #1 defense in the league last week and still got to 24 points. So they should be able to get in that 20-point range. The defense is balling, and call me crazy, but instead of the rest theory, you know what I subscribe to? I subscribe to the add a badass player to the middle of your defensive line theory and you get better theory. That's the one that I subscribe to. Having Leo there in the middle, man, Leonard Williams, I think that's going to be a big deal for the Seahawks. I think they come away with this victory.
I love that. Leo lighting up Lamar, getting him flustered, making him take shots downfield, interceptions for our boys. And we walk out of Baltimore with the purple and the black and the Edgar Allan Poe. And our telltale is that we walk out of there with a W and we get back on that plane at 6-2. And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. I thought you were doing it.